This is an India Today exclusive. The first interview of the Iranian ambassador to India, Ambassador Iraj Elahi, since the war broke out. He was in Tehran. He's returned only after the evacuation flights took off. Ambassador Elahi, thank you so much for doing this with the India Today network. Let's begin with the fact that there is a ceasefire now that has been announced between Iran and Israel. But how viable is the ceasefire going to be in a situation that's ongoing and you have Netanyahu at the helm of affairs in Israel?
First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to talk to the Indian nationals and your viewers. You know, regarding to your question, Netanyahu is not reliable. Netanyahu is not reliable. He launched a military aggression against Iranian peaceful nuclear installation facilities, and he also, during his military operation, this attack, they targeted residential area, healthcare centers, ambulances, hospitals, residential areas, different, did not pay the least bit attention to the international law, humanitarian law. So he is not reliable. He is not reliable regarding the ceasefire. But anyway, we are ready to respond to any action by Israel. If it continue striking or start its aggression, we will respond.
Ambassador, did America entering the fray really surprise Tehran? Because there was a 2 weeks notice that, that Donald Trump had given, and yet it entered the war. Was it something that was on expected lines, intelligence reports or assessment that Tehran had that America will be entering the war?
You know, American played a two parallel line. From one side, in one line, they tried to convince Iran that we want negotiation, we want to reach to a conclusion, to a rapprochement with Iran. And at the same time, they were working on a military operation, and they were supporting financially, militarily, intelligently, and they have gave Israel whatever it needs for such this aggression. But I use this opportunity to mention that, first of all, Trump himself is not reliable, is not predictable person, and United States also is not reliable. You know, we were preparing ourselves for the sixth indirect talk round with the mediation of Oman, and we were guessing, we were expecting such this aggression, and we were preparing ourselves for such to defend and respond. But at the same time, we tried to convince ourselves that United States will not allow Israel. You know, Israel by itself cannot do anything. Israel is little bit, is smaller than to do anything, not only against Iran, but most of the regional country, in the regional states in our region. Israel cannot do and still cannot do anything, and would not do anything without permission and without support of United States and some Western countries. And you know, during the response of Iran, we fully witnessed the support of United States and other, European, other allies of Israel for intercepting our missiles and to not allow our missiles to reach to Israel. Of course, despite of this, our missile targeted different facilities and different infrastructure of Israel. Anyway, we were expecting such this and we were ready. But at
You were expecting America to enter the war?
you know, we were expecting. We were expecting.
Very interesting. President Trump has said that America managed to decimate the 3 nuclear facilities and that Iran has only done a symbolic gesture with the attack on the US bases. Your comments, sir?
You know, first of all, Iranian nuclear facilities are peaceful. And where all Iranian nuclear activity, nuclear facilities were under subject to the intensive inspection of the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. So, but at the same time, they claim they claim that it's not peaceful, and they launched such this. You know, still the Iranian concerning structure are studying the extent of damages to the infrastructures. I am not at the position to say what happened and how is the situation now. I am still, you know, it's something which needs a high-ranking decision. It's strategic. It needs a strategic decision and a strategic position for next step.
Right. So right now, Iran is studying the extent of damage and is not officially putting out what has happened. Yeah. But the response of Iran also, America says, was symbolic in nature, that you hit out at the US bases in Qatar and the troops that were housed in Iraq, but they were just symbolic, that you did not intend to harm anybody, and that at the end of the day, information was passed on to Qatar and to America. How do you see what America is looking at and how America views Iran's actions? That they were symbolic and they were not meant as a response?
You know, we have proved that we are serious regarding defending our national interest, our sovereignty, our people. And, you know, if you review the history of the world after World War II, no country has targeted any U.S. military or U.S. installation, U.S. facilities. It was Iran, just Iran, and just Iran that twice has targeted U.S. military forces, military bases. And, you know, you can count it as symbolic or serious, but Iran was enough brave to respond to the military action of to the aggression of United States. And still, if United States can repeat its unlawful manner, it will receive the same response.
The US President, Ambassador has also come out and said that, okay, now this calls for peace and ceasefire. They have let out steam. Both sides have done what they had to do. Is this US backing off from a full-blown aggression? And what could have led to this ceasefire?
You know, first of all, as I mentioned, no aggression could happen without support of US. And Trump tries to show that he has played an important role in war and in ceasefire. But, you know, intentionally, our military operation was in response to responding to the aggression of Israel. If Israel stop, you can call it ceasefire or whatever you want. If it stops, we will stop our operation against Israel. But you can count it as ceasefire or other thing.
Okay, very important over here on how Netanyahu and the role Netanyahu has played in the region. and how destabilized the region is. But before that, the role of IAEA, sir. Ambassador Elahi, the fact that the first statements came from Rafael Grossi about uranium enrichment and that there were traces of enrichment found in places that they should not have found those traces. How is Iran looking at the allegations, the accusations being made by IAEA? That was the premise and the pretext for Netanyahu to attack Iran.
First of all, I separate your question into two parts. First of all, Iran is a member of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. Iran's nuclear facilities is under heavy and precise inspection of IAEA inspectors. Iran does not have any nuclear weapons. This is from Israel, a state, an entity, not a regime, an unlawful regime, which is not a member of NPT, owns nuclear weapons, has attacked Iran on the pretext that Iran's have enriched uranium. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, at least for those who see the scenes, and it can be considered as ridiculous. Israel is defending itself, is defending the peace and stability of the region by attacking and aggressing Iran on this pretext. This is. Secondly, the role of IAEA. We have had direct contact with IAEA. The inspectors of IAEA are permanently in Iran. According to the reports of Director General of IAEA, Iran is under heaviest inspection of and protocols and parameters of IAEA. And till now, they did not find any diversion from in the Iranian facility. But they politically and intentionally saying that we could not say that Iran has no divergence or Iran's nuclear program is peaceful. Let me
Do you hold IAEA responsible?
Sure. IAEA is responsible. Grossi himself is responsible for what happened in 2 recent weeks. Grossi himself is responsible for the casualties, for the civilian casualties which we gave in Iran for our scientists. Israel has targeted, has killed many Iranian nuclear scientists. Grossi is responsible for this. Iranian nuclear facilities is under safeguard of the IAEA, but Grossi did not mention anything. Even he hesitated to condemn the targeting nuclear facilities. So I believe that Grossi paved the way for this aggression and did not has not done his duty correctly, and for this reason, Iranian concerning structure has sent a letter and to the United Nations complaining Grossi's role in this regard.
Will Iran cooperate with IAEA in the future when an assessment has to be done on the damage to the 3 nuclear facilities?
Iran's nuclear program is peaceful. Till now, despite the unconstructive role of IAEA and the bad role of Grossi, we are committed to the IAEA provisions, IAEA parameters, and we want to cooperate with IAEA. We want to show, and we tried, and we have shown that our program is peaceful, and there should not be any doubt about the peacefulness of our nuclear program. But they want intentionally, they are denying, they want to ignore the peacefulness of our nuclear program.
Ambassador Elahi, let's zoom out and look at Netanyahu and Trump. Do you think, and what do you think, and why do you think Trump attacked Iran at the behest of Netanyahu? And how could Netanyahu convince Trump to enter a war when he has been anti-war, did not want to enter any war for the longest? In fact, his supporters, Republicans in America, are not very happy with America entering the war at all.
You know, the relation between Netanyahu and Trump is complicated. And this is one factor. The second fact is that Trump himself is not predictable. He himself mentioned this, and it's not just my words. You know, to whom you are talking, he said that Trump is not predictable. And thirdly, you know, Trump tried to show that can do something. You know, in Gaza, Trump could not do anything. He promised to bring back peace in Gaza, end war, but still the genocide is going on in Gaza. The starvation of people is continue. Israel is targeting people who are in the aid centers, and you know they have no weapon at their hands. So, and still resistance active in Gaza. So regarding the Russian-Ukraine war, Trump could not do anything. So it tries to show that at least he can do something regarding the Iran nuclear program.
Is this a political, personal agenda of Netanyahu that we are seeing being played out in Israel and in the region?
Sure. Netanyahu is now facing credible allegation regarding a war crime against humanity, starvation, weaponization of the starvation of the people. And, you know, if today, the war in Israel with Iran and with Gaza stop, he will be punished by the, the judiciary system of Israel. So, in fact, Netanyahu hijacked Israel, hijacked the high-ranking politician of U.S., and for himself, not on the benefit of or peace of Israel. You know, it's some excuse for Netanyahu for that he has done for the stability and security of Israel.
Some military and security experts question whether if Iran could have sustained a longer war. Do you think Iran had the capability to sustain a longer war? And could Israel have sustained a longer war with Iran?
You know, it may be interesting for you. You know, we have passed an 8 years imposed war with Iraq. During that war, we have prisoners of war from 15 countries, not just from Iraq, 15 countries. You know, we were combating not only with Iraq, with different countries. At that era, Soviet Union was, you know, it was Soviet Union. It was United States, you know, United States was, and European countries, Arab states. Too many countries were supporting Iraq. We were alone. We were alone. Even at that era, Soviet Union was supporting Iraq, you know, with MiG, with tanks, different advanced tanks and ammunition. But we could defend our territory. we could defend our sovereignty. We did not allow, we pushed back all Iraqi forces. So Iran is not a small country. As I mentioned, Israel is smaller than the smallest province of Iran. Iran is about 90 million population. You know, we are neighbor with, we have border with 15 countries, 15 countries. You can count them, even you can count them easily. So we can easily survive, we can easily we can sustain, and we can defend ourselves.
Do you have the stockpile, the missiles, to take on Israel and continuously take on Israel? Because we see that even the barrage of missiles that Iran sends are intercepted, only a few reach Israel. Is the Iron Dome capable enough to sustain an ongoing, prolonged conflict with Iran?
You know, there were not just Iron Dome. There was not just Iron Dome. There were different air defense systems in Israel active during this war. You know, advanced 5th-generation airplane fighters were on the sky, were intercepting Iranian missiles. Falachun David,
yes.
Iron Dome, different TOD, different system, defense system, air defense system were active during war. But despite of all of these, our missiles reached the our targets in Israeli territory. So we believe that, you know, we could, not easily, but we could reach territory of Israel and target our whatever we wanted to attack.
We will look at the investments, but let's look at the Middle Eastern countries, the West Asian countries. With Iran having attacked US air bases in Qatar and the base in Iraq, is it a wake-up call? Was it a wake-up call for the Middle Eastern countries that this war could expand and could bring the Middle Eastern countries also into the war, and therefore maybe messaging to the United States of America that went from Middle Eastern countries, particularly the Arab world, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, that they don't want to be involved in a conflict that is long drawn and expanded and involves Israel?
Since the beginning of the war, we explicitly and clearly mentioned and expressed that we are not with expanding the war. You know, it is something Israel has attacked, has aggressed Iran, and we are responding Israel. So the intervention of any third factor can complicate the situation, and we will not ignore any intervention, as we did not we respond to the military attack of United States. So for this reason, we were in close contacts with our neighbors that we really do not want the expansion of war, expansion of struggle between Iran and tension between Iran and United States and Israel. But it's not just one side. It means that there is a pretext, there is a condition. They should not help or intervene in the play. They should not enter the playground. So for this reason, we were in close contacts with our neighbors. We received good messages from them, and we appreciate our foreign minister will travel to different countries. But at the same time, when we also send messages to the host countries of the U.S. military bases that we will retaliate, we will target U.S. military, U.S. basement, U.S. military infrastructure in the region, despite of where they are located.
There's a call by America and Israel for a regime change in Iran. How has Iran looked at that, given that we have seen massive penetration of Israel in Iranian territory, top military leadership taken out, political leadership targeted, and now a call for a regime change in Iran?
You know, regime change is a dream and a will, a wish, in fact, of U.S., Israel, and many countries. It is not a new idea. Since the victorious of the Islamic Revolution, they have tried not only once, too many times for regime change. You know, we believe and we count the imposed war of Iraq as a part of regime plan for regime change. The support of terrorist group MKO by United States, France, and other European countries as a part of regime change. Israel were supporting terrorist groups inside Iran. Even they have different plot. Even U.S. About 40 years back, U.S. Directly invaded Iran in Tabas, and its helicopter and airplane were destroyed by the sands and winds in the center of Iran. So the wish for regime change in Iran is not a new thing. And Iran has shown that and the Islamic Republic of Iran has shown that it is a resilient. It has resilient, and we easily can confront such this, and we believe that they never reach to this goal.
Okay.
And they are smaller than Israel, especially Israel, and even U.S. U.S. itself said that high-ranking officials of the U.S. said that they are not following regime change. Of course, they could not, and they will not be able to do this. But at the same time, they declared that they are not following regime change. But Israel is smaller. You know, Israel is not considerable.
Okay. But the fact that we've seen military leadership being attacked within Iran, so has that come as a wake-up call and a shock to Tehran,
Sure.
the Israeli penetration?
Yeah, sure. But, you know, this is one side of the coin. The second side is that after a few hours, new commander have been appointed, and Iran could easily find himself and could very fast, after a few hours, Iran respond to the Israel aggression.
There are two options that we were looking at and we were studying when it came to Iran. One is the military option of how Iran is going to respond to America and to Israel. The other was the economic option. And the Iranian parliament has considered closing down of the Strait of Hormuz. Now with a ceasefire being called, is that still an option on the table?
You know,
shutting down of the Strait of Hormuz?
You know, we as a sovereign country will study every option for defending our sovereignty, our security, our people, whatever. For Iran, every option could be on the table. But at the same time, we have good relation with our neighbors. We have good relation with different parts of the world. We do not want to put other countries in any problem. So we have tried to limit the sin and the ground of combat with Israel, just with Israel.
Yeah, to confine it to Israel.
To confine it with Israel, yeah. Not to expand it. As I mentioned, we are not supporting, we are not following expansion in any, in any shape.
Okay. We will come to the India question because you said partners should not be impacted. Shutting down of the Strait of Hormuz will impact your partners, be it India or China. But the larger question over here is the support that Iran has got. Foreign Minister Arakchi's meeting with President Putin, with his counterpart in Moscow, were significant. Did that embolden Tehran to carry out the actions that it did against America?
Iran has shown that it makes its decision by itself. By itself. We have been targeted by the United States, and even there were no meeting between Minister Arakchi and President Putin. Also, we will respond to the United States aggression against Iran.
But is there expectation of support from Russia and China for Iran?
Russia and China are good and close friends of Iran. They are member of JCPOA. We are in close, we have close consultation regarding nuclear issue with these two countries. We have very good and close economic relation with China, with Russia. In the region, we have very close consultation with Russia. So, in many fields, we are in permanent dialogue and consultation with these two countries.
Are talks on the table? Are they back on the table after the ceasefire with America and with Europe?
Now, I am in Delhi. I am not fully aware of what is happening in Tehran and what will be the decision of Iran. But at least I can say that United States, first of all, we never left the table of negotiation. As I mentioned, we were preparing ourselves for the 6th round of indirect talk with United States, with intervention of mediation of Oman. So we did never. But, the reliability of United States is a question.
Right.
Let's see what, I'm not in the position to answer you now. Let me receive some comments from Tehran.
Okay. My final couple of questions to you on India. Evacuations took place. A lot of students were very worried about their safety and security. What was the kind of cooperation and conversation that took place between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tehran and the Ministry of External Affairs here in India? And further on, the cooperation in terms of evacuation that took place and continues to take place?
India, we, after the aggression of Israel, we received some requests from India regarding the safety of its nationals in Iran. We fully cooperated with Indian embassy in Tehran, with Indian MEA, and helped them. We facilitated and prepared aircraft for them to bring back its nationals, and till now a few flights have been done, and even today I think some flights will be happen. So we paid more attention to the safety and security of not only Indian, all foreigners in Iran. But Indian are we believe Indian are brothers. India is not, we believe India and consider India as a neighbor. Culturally, historically, we are same. We are same. Of course, there are some parts try to separate Iran and India, and they try to show that India is supporting one side and not supporting Iran. But we consider the neutral position of India. And
do you think India is neutral?
You know, India, we received, after the war, Dr. Arakchi, Minister of Foreign Affairs, received a call from MEA Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, and also President Pezeshkian received a call from PM Modi. And they invited the escalation, and they emphasized on dialogue. Let's consider this as a neutral position.
Okay. Final question to you, sir, before I let you go, because we're running out of time. Indian interests and investments in Iran. The Chabahar port is very important. We were speaking to the Israeli envoy to India as well, and he was saying that they're warning against investing in Iran, not just to India, but also the messaging to China, that stop investing because it's a waste of our money. How are the investments looking of Indian investments in Iran as opposed to Indian investments in Israel, because Haifa was also attacked?
Israel is smaller than anything to treat any investment in Iran. You know, Israel itself and alone is not any threat to Iran. Let me say to you and your viewers. Israel without US, Israel without the support of the EU, Israel with support of different Western countries is nothing, you know. But it poses a problem for the region. We fully defend any foreign investment in Iran, not Indian, Chinese. You know, despite of the sanction, let me say you, and change this perception that Iran is under heavy sanction. Annually, we are receiving foreign investment in Iran. India is just one. Even Chabahar is an investment by the government of India. There are also private sector of India that are keen, and they have entered Iranian economy. They have invested in Iran from China. You know, some countries at the level governmental institution have invested in Iran, and even private sector. You know, Iran is a good market for a good place for investment. Rich, it is rich. It is their energy price is low, labor force is low. There are good facility, good infrastructure. So it's feasibility.
Are the investments safe?
All investment are safe. All investment. You know, it depends to you how to interpret the safety. You know, Iran's government is fully support foreign investment. This is one side. Legally and constitutionally, Iran's government is fully support any foreign investment. And, you know, there are too many investments. From the security, also, it is the responsibility of Iranian government. You know, if there is a factory or a project inside Iran, it's the responsibility of Iran to defend its sovereignty, its security, and these investments are among other projects, other installations, other facilities inside Iran. So we will defend them all. We will defend them.
Right. Ambassador Elahi, before I let you go, all this began with the war against Gaza and against Palestine. Is that an issue that Iran will continue to take up and support?
You know, Gaza is not just an issue of Gazian. It's an issue of humanity. You know, the people are suffering from starvation. Israel has weaponized starvation. Israel does not allow to enter any humanitarian aid, water, fuel, food, medicine. So it's not, it's not, we were supporting Gaza, we were supporting Palestine, and we do not, there is no change in our approach and our strategy. We fully support by any means. But it's, we expect that, and we hope that other countries, different nations around the world will support the deprived people of Palestine. It's time to stand in the right parts of the history. How the people, how the countries, how the governments will respond, will answer to the coming generation, when the coming generation in the world will study the history of Gaza, what happened to the Palestinians, what happened to the people of this region, and what has done Israel to these people. So it is the responsibility of all people. And the path, my last point is that the path to peace and stability goes through accountability. Okay. Israel should be accountable. Israel, and it is the responsibility of all countries, all international organizations, all intellectuals, all writers, media. Let me, with your permission, I mentioned this point that I was not in Iran. I was in Iran, and I was not here in India. But according to reports I received from my embassy, many correspondents, many media in India had not neutral position in coverage of what happened between Iran and Israel. This is, I am not criticizing, but I am recalling the responsibility of media. Misinform is more worse than misleading.
Misinformation is
misinformation.
Yes.
Misinformation. The media, through giving the correct information, can correct even the mistake of leaders, mistake of people, mistake of the approaches. So if you misinform people, it will lead to consequences which is not inevitable.
Right. Ambassador Elahi, just staying with the last words that you just spoke, that is to stand on the right side of history. Thank you so much for joining us here and speaking to us in this exclusive conversation on India Today Network. Thank you.
Thank you. I really want to express my gratitude to the India Today for good coverage of the events in the region, and especially the recent war between Iran and Israel.
Thank you so much. Thank you.